they're playing these games and everything, I guess more anxious kids would, I don't know, play more tense or say they're doing it wrong or something like that. So I don't know if you have some kind of subjective like questionnaire after that to check on those variabilities.
Wow, I wish you would have been part of our study from the beginning, because that's something over time we've learned that we have to be better and better about. At the front end, we really tell all participants that any answer they give us is okay, that everybody gets some wrong. And the reason we have to do that is because you're right, for some anxious kids, they don't want to be wrong. And so they get a little bit frozen. And sometimes we have trouble getting them to answer the questions in the game or play the game because they're worried about being wrong. So part of what we do now is we just remind them at the beginning and every so often throughout, hey, don't worry, everyone gets some wrong, just go ahead and take a guess. And then after the fact, you're right, you can gain a lot of insight from asking people afterwards what was going on for them while they were doing the games, right? And so we call that a debriefing questionnaire, where we can ask various follow-up questions about what their experience was like. And by asking those questions, we can learn more as well to be able to interpret the data that we get.
I think our understanding of the brain is only as good as our understanding of the behavior. And so we look at behavior in many different ways. We look at reaction time. We look at where people are looking if we can. That's another way. We can look at like how much they're sweating and stuff like that. So those are not ways that we look at, in some of our data, but it's all about tying what a person's doing. How is their heart rate going? In the game, do they press one button more than another button? And is that related to how anxious they are or what types of memories they have? And sometimes we miss things because there's lots of things to measure, but we try to be very careful in what we do.
I asked Aaron, he told me not yet, but maybe later, to kind of use these AI, this machine learning, to kind of study the kids better. I don't know if you're going to do that, if you would like to.
Yeah, I think similar to what we were describing before, like at this point, we're at such group level analyses, right? But the data in that particular study were very intriguing, that when we had kids who were suicidal or not suicidal or had a history of suicidality, who had recently been hospitalized, we had them think about particular emotional words, negative words, positive words, as well as words related to suicide. And we were able to predict with a pretty high degree of accuracy whether each child was in the suicidal group or the non-suicidal group based on their brain patterns while they were thinking about these words, and in particular the words that were about suicide. I was quite surprised, honestly, by how strong the findings were, but we are certainly not at a point where we can use that as a diagnostic tool or a classification system yet. I think we need to understand a lot more about exactly what we're picking up on and why it's working to that extent, and then think about in what setting it might be useful to do something like that. And then also every time we run an imaging scan, it's fairly expensive, right? So you need to be really clear about what your goal is clinically in using an instrument like that. And if it's going to tell you more than you could otherwise learn just by asking someone, are you suicidal? And it may prove to tell us more someday down the line, but yeah, we're still exploring those data.
Well, that's something pretty cool, and it opens like a new door to a new area in which you're using STEM, engineer stuff to understand behavior. It's really amazing.
I guess my message would be twofold. Number one, we haven't historically thought about sleep as being so important. And so I just want to encourage everyone to listen to what we have to say here and to start to recognize sleep as one of these pillars of health, right? We talk all the time about physical activity, about diet, about exercise, and those are so important. And I would add sleep to be equally as important as those other three things for our emotional health, for our well-being, and also for learning and memory, as well as long-term health issues like heart disease, diabetes, all sorts of medical issues that also have been linked to poor sleep. So it's nothing to freak out about, like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep last night, because in general, your body is designed to adapt to whatever amount of sleep you can give it at any immediate time. But if you want to be really optimized, if you want to be faster at your sport and quicker at your musical instrument and smarter in class, sleep is one way to really optimize those superpowers. And then the other thing that I would say is regarding our study, we have a number of studies going on with our teams, and you can visit our social media accounts and check out what we have going on. And if you're even a little bit interested, give us a call, because we can tell you more about about it and give you more information. All of our studies, require that a parent or caretaker or guardian is willing to sign and let you do it as well. So definitely talk it over with them. But we'd love to hear from you and we'd love to share more.
I won't be able to say it quite as well, but in the end, sleep is really important. And it is fascinating to kind of keep in mind that our brain is always going. And so, in order to kind of make sure that our brain is doing the best that it can, we need to ensure that we, treat it right. So eat healthy, exercise, and get sleep. And then in addition, we're always looking for people to kind of help us do the research that we do, but there are many ways to do that. And so some ways are just to tell people about the cool things that you learned by watching these videos. Other ways are to actually participate. And another way to participate is to actually do research. And so there are opportunities if you're a high school student, when you go to college, to get involved in research. And so look for those opportunities, reach out to people that inspire you to kind of learn new things, and take advantage of the kind of networks that are in your community to kind of learn more and kind of grow as an individual. So I know that I've taken high school students into my lab over as a summer internship program, and I always encourage kind of students and people in the community to do that.
So thank you so much for coming here and teach us this really awesome stuff, and to help us understand a little bit more about sleeping better, how to achieve that, and why it's so important. So thank you so much for coming here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.